Hello everyone, welcome back to another installment of 5 in 5. Today I've got something special for you because I'm going to be sharing 5 of my top tips to help you ease into your menstruation and create a little bit more awareness about what's going on with your body and how you feel throughout this sacred time. I'm on the eve of my bleed, and so it is always a time for me to remember what works for me during this sacred time and what doesn't. So let's dive in and see what I've got for you. So tip number 1 is to avoid coffee while you are bleeding. This is because our energetic body is spiraling downward as we bleed, and when we drink coffee, it's a stimulant, so an artificial energy is trying to spiral upward, and this can create a little bit of conflict, and for me personally it makes me quite nauseous and gives me a little bit of a headache. So if you need a little bit of a boost while you're bleeding, I love to drink cacao with a little bit of cayenne pepper, and my favorite brand is Ceremony. Their chili cacao is nourishing, and cacao is just so good for our womb space. So avoid coffee, drink cacao or some beautiful herbal teas that nourish and support you during this sacred time. Tip number 2 is something that I noticed personally a few years ago, and that was to avoid eating or drinking dairy during bleed time. For me, it created more cramping than usual, and the cramps were quite intense and different to regular cramping that I did get. So if you're one to eat or drink dairy, opt out of it next bleed and see if that minimizes the cramps that you do get. And remember that you start to enter your bleed phase 1 to 2 days before you actually bleed. So minimizing your intake of dairy during that time can aid the process. If you were one to eat chocolate, we all go for the chocolate craving when it's our bleed time. If you are one to eat chocolate, go for something that's more 70 to 80% cacao, and not only will it help to nourish your womb, but you'll be intaking a lot less sugar as well as dairy. So avoiding dairy is a really good tip, and let me know. Tip number 3 is to avoid harsh environments. This is because when you are bleeding, it is likened to winter and it's time for you to go inward. So avoiding harsh environments where there are a lot of people and a lot of different energies going on can really aid in the process of letting go. Especially places like supermarkets where they have fluorescent lights. Fluorescent lights play havoc on our pineal, pituitary and hypothalamus gland that help to regulate our hormones in our cycle. So avoiding harsh environments is not only going to bring you a lot of peace throughout that time, it's going to help you just stay with your own energy during this beautiful sacred time. If you need permission to slow down and don't go to the party, here it is. I'm telling you now, you don't have to go to the party, you can stay home. Tip number 4 is to prepare meals in advance and keep them in the freezer for when you are going to bleed. Ensuring that you make meals that will fulfill any cravings that you may have during your bleed time, because what this does is it saves you energy during that time when it's nice to rest and meditate and journal and just spend some time with yourself. If you don't have to cook, you're not running around thinking about things externally, you can just heat it up, go lay in bed, watch something, meditate, journal, whatever you do to give yourself some nourishment. But it's a beautiful practice to get into, preparing ahead. Tip number 5 is my personal favorite, and that's to bath while you bleed. I've mentioned this to people in the past, and I've had a few people turn up their nose and express how gross they think that is, but that's exactly the type of views on menstruation that we need to change in our society. There is nothing wrong with your blood, and bathing while you bleed, it's like laying in a nice warm womb. It's so supportive, and if you practice energetically and emotionally letting go during your bleed time, handing it over to the water as a sacred portal to be taken back to the mother is just a powerful, powerful practice. So getting in the habit of bleeding and bathing is my favorite thing to do. As soon as I start to bleed, I'm looking for the first bath I can find. So practice that one and feel the love and support that you are creating for yourself during that practice. Thank you for watching this new installment of 5 in 5. I definitely haven't kept it under 5 minutes because this is a topic that I'm super passionate about and could talk about all day long. So if you have any questions about your cycle, any questions about your bleed, anything like that, please reach out to me because I love to talk about this. And I also love when people message me and say, I'm bleeding, because they know that I'm going to celebrate that with them. So even if we don't know each other and you just need someone to help you celebrate your bleed time, so you can help to create that new relationship with your cycle, then reach out to me. I'm always here to celebrate the sacred blood.